Welcome to the Tampa Bay IIBA chapter. Today is April 16th, 2026, and this is our BA Masterclass. This is our meeting we have every Thursday night that we bring good to you. Today we have the privilege of having Taiwo join us. Taiwo is going to talk to us about accelerating data insights with Copilot in Power BI. He recently gave a similar talk to Purdue University AI's Master's Capstone Project, and they were thrilled with it. And I'm so excited to see this for us now because the way that AI gives us information, we can do our own development. We can do things that we could never do before as business analysts. So I'm excited about this. I guess I should tell you who I am. My name is Thea Soren. I'm the president of this chapter. I've been a business analyst for over 20 years. My career spans a diverse number of industries. I've had the honor of contributing to the BABOK and founding the BA Force Multiplier movement. But all that is to say, I'm here to help you. That's my job here. So if you need something, if you have questions, if you need direction, reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'll be glad to help. For those of you who are new to the IIBA, let me tell you about it. The International Institute of Business Analysis is the global governing body for the business analysis profession. Just like PMI is for project managers, IIBA is for business analysts. IIBA has more than 30,000 members worldwide, 120 chapters around the world, 7 internationally recognized certifications. We are committed to making the world better, one business, one project, and one life at a time. The IIBA serves as a global standard-setting organization for business analysis. Because of this leadership, and the most respected and widely recognized certifications in our profession come from the IIBA, grounded in the internationally adopted BABOK guide, which is like the PMBOK, ours is called the BABOK. What are the benefits of joining the IIBA? You get access to training provided by chapters around the world, all 120 chapters. You get access to anything that they're providing. Most of it's free, some of it isn't. You get complimentary access to over 25,000 outstanding books, webinars, videos, including the BABOK, and then additional resources. And you get discounts on certification exams that actually equal in what they're called tier 1 countries, it equals the amount of your membership. So it's basically free. There are IIBA chapters in major cities around the world. If there's not an active chapter near you, we can talk about you starting a chapter, or you're welcome to the Tampa Bay IIBA. Members of the Tampa Bay, Florida chapter are not restricted to residents of Florida. In fact, we have participants and members literally all around the globe. If you do not have an IIBA chapter, Tampa Bay could be your chapter. Our vision here at Tampa Bay IIBA is building a thriving community of empowered business analysts. So why would you choose to join the Tampa Bay chapter? We offer multiple training sessions each week, including CBAP prep and coaching, and acclaimed SDLC workshop, among other things. You can view our upcoming events at our website and the updates posted across LinkedIn and Facebook. And by the end of 2025, we had presented well over 300 events here during our BA master classes and to organizations around the world. And those events are available on YouTube, but that's a lot. So we have Bob's Amazing Index put on by rpchurchill.com. It is up to date as of right now. Thanks to Bob, you can go in and identify things by topic, by speaker, by date, and click on it, and it takes you directly to that part of that YouTube. It's wonderful. We really appreciate it, Bob. A result of putting on all of this training and mentoring over hundreds of individuals, the Tampa Bay chapter was awarded the Global IIBA Award for Professional Development Excellence. And those people that put this on, this is our board. I'm very proud of the efforts of each one. Also, I'm proud to announce that we have 2 new board members. Amal has joined us. He's going to help Kasi work on our YouTube channel technical work. And Bill Powers has joined us as a director of administration. You can see him down there in the people, those video things. You can see him down there. And he's going to help Sarita take care of our administrative work. Thank you very much, Bill. I'm looking forward to the good we're going to do together. Another result of all that work that we put on is these students have reached out to tell us that our training and mentoring was a big part of their success in achieving their certification. Many of these folks are past participants of our CBAP group. Several studied along with us using only our YouTube videos. A majority have gone on to lead IIBA chapters and organizations here and around the world because we make leaders here. One of those trainings is our CBAP test prep course. It's 7 months of training every single week. We've got two different events. One is Thursdays after this meeting, and then one is Saturday mornings, so that we can help the folks that are across the pond. I want to take a moment to appreciate all of our partners. We can't do this good work without our partners, but our number one partner group is you, IIBA members and those who participate in our chapter. We're also partnered with over a dozen other IIBA chapters worldwide, and we mentor 4 chapters that are just forming. These folks have come to me personally and said, "You say that we can start our own chapter. How do we do it?" So I help them do it. I connect them to the right people. I give them mentoring, and they are creating their chapters. They're going to be able to say they're founding members of a chapter, which is pretty cool. We've partnered with the DOBAC group based in the UK and these groups that are in the Tampa area. We've also successfully partnered with several recruiting services and training companies. Our goal is always to elevate our BA community. We partnered with Purdue University. We are excited about this. Purdue was looking for some real life experience from people with maybe 5 years of work experience to partner with their virtual AI master's program students. Through this partnership, the students get more than just academic learning. Purdue is hosting a virtual speaker series, and several of those of us who mentor also sign up to participate. I want to call out Esther, our Vice President of Professional Development for the Tampa Bay IIBA. She is the one who coordinates all this for us. It is a huge effort. We want to give her appreciation. Over the last several months, we have provided over half of their speakers, and these are the speakers that are the speeches that are coming up in just a little while. We had one today, and there's going to be this one on the 24th, and I'll put the links in the chat for these. And then our own Alicia Funderburk is going to be giving a speech on April 29th. Good for her. Guys, she's a great speaker. You ought to go listen. Benefits of our partnership include discounts to our participants. Watermark Learning offers you a 40% discount using this code right here. This means that you can get unlimited access to their 1,200 question CBAP practice test questions with a 40% discount. Watermark Tools, this test bank is what I use for most of my classes, and my students have expressed how effective the tools are. Additionally, Adaptive US has given us a 20% discount on all of their courses, with the exclusion of their on-demand courses, excluding their IIBA exam vouchers. They also have 90 free items on their website. These guys have a cool warranty. They say if you take a class from them that's a CBAP test prep and you take the test and you don't pass it, they will pay for you to take it a second time and a third time. They truly believe that what they're providing you is going to get you through the test. So this Saturday, I don't know if we can still register for this, but this Saturday, David Verbanik is going to be teaching you about business cases. If you don't know what a business case is, guys, you need to know what a business case is. Business case is what starts our projects. Business case is what many of us have to create to justify a change in an organization. So right now, the price for this is $200. It's going to be 7 hours of training with all of the credit that you get for that. On the 23rd, BA Life 2026 is kicking off in Europe. This is a virtual conference. It is not expensive for the quality of training that you get. You get access to 30 brilliant speakers and 12 months of access to all the recordings of all the different speeches. They also have some interesting ideas. Let me say it this way. We are a little bit siloed here in the United States. We hear each other a lot. This is an opportunity to hear what's in Europe and all over the world. Next week, we have Renat is going to come talk to us about designing AI augmented enterprise workflows. It's a session packed with practical real-world insights. I really think that you're going to enjoy this because Renat has talked to us about security in the past. It changed some of our very seasoned minds about things that we should or should not do. April 27th through 29th in Orlando, if you can be there in person. The Project Summit Business Analyst World is going to be there. Seamus and Robert Churchill are going to be speaking or manning booths, depending on who you talk to. And we'd love to meet you there. You get exposure to business analysis and project management. And then on April 30th, Esther is going to give us a BA Strategies Lab. We're going to go through games, grit, and great decisions. A little bit of fun with a little bit of learning. On May 7th, I'm going to give a course on using Copilot M365 to make your own test bank or assistant or anything else. I'm going to show you how to do it. If you have M365, you can follow along. We're going to do it together. And this one I'm really excited about. 12 different chapters came together to put together this virtual conference. We're going to have 42 speakers. I'm going to give a 4-hour workshop, a talk. I'm going to be on a panel. I'm going to do the comments. So I'm excited about all that. But this is really, really inexpensive for the good that it's going to bring you. This is called Unleash Your Potential, Elevating Business Analysis Excellence Conference. And the link to all of these are on our website. And then on May 28th, another European conference called the European BA Day is going to take place. You can just Google for that one and get access. But I've given you a lot. There's even more on our website. If you go to tampabay.iiba.org, you can access it. We also have our updates on LinkedIn and Facebook. We have all of our recordings on YouTube on our YouTube channel. And the best way to reach our YouTube channel is to go to rpchurchill.com. He's got a link to our channel. He also has a link to every single thing we have out there. Now to our presentation. Take it away, Taiwo.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much. And thanks for having me today. So just go ahead and share my screen. Just a minute. Mm. Taiwo Olatunde, and today I'll be talking about, of course, it's going to be a presentation and hands-on. So I'll be talking about accelerating data insights with Copilot in Power BI. Um, just a little bit about myself. I'm a data and AI engineer here in Texas. So I'm actually in Frisco, Texas. That's the DFW area. So I work at MVIT and been able to contribute to some tools. We have Jericho AI and a latest to Acabit.ai. So you can check this up. And that was at a conference organized by Google. So Build with AI in Dallas. So today we'll be talking on how do you accelerate data insights with Copilot in Power BI, and this will be some of the agenda that we'll be covering. So we'll start with what is Copilot now. Many times we have, of course, we have Copilot. Of course, that's the Microsoft way, right, of bringing generative AI. So, of course, with the advent of Gen AI, generative AI, we have a lot of platforms, ChatGPT and Gemini and all of these platforms. So for Microsoft, they have the Copilot, and they've incorporated Copilot, across multiple of their products. And you were just hearing about the M365 Copilot. So today we'll just be focusing more on the integration of Copilot into Power BI. So Power BI is a Microsoft BI tool. That's the business intelligence tool. And I know we are all familiar with Power BI. So we are trying to see how to, of course, Copilot is bringing the power of generative AI into traditional business intelligence. And it helps, it enhances productivity, streamline workflow for three set of people, both the business users, the report author, and the data model owner. So I'll just go just play a video here. Just a minute. Okay. So just to introduce us to Copilot in Power BI. Well, I mean, I would think many of us already know, but
Let's take a look at how Copilot in Power BI is empowering everyone to quickly find and share insights. For example, say I'm a sales analyst for a hotel and resorts company.
in the network,
Now, with Copilot in Power BI, I can simply
it's kind of slow.
describe the report I want to build and get insights in seconds. Maybe we need a new report to help us understand the profile of our
Yes, sorry for the break. I think the network here is
customers to gain insights into what is driving return visits to our properties. I just describe what I need, and Copilot will automatically analyze my data
okay. So I think I will just skip this. It's some network
and create a new report based on my needs. Immediately, Copilot created a new Power BI report that is fully interactive, and I can start slicing and dicing my data to explore deeper. Copilot added the charts and slicers I requested, but also conveniently gives me options to adjust the output to get just what I'm looking for. For example, let's switch to ask for metrics and trends and a slightly different layout. Automatically, Copilot updates the report. Let's go ahead and keep this report page, but it goes much further. I can also ask analysis questions such as, what are the main drivers for repeat customer visits? Copilot responds by adding a new page to my report and uses Power BI's built-in advanced analysis capabilities for finding key influencers for variables in my data. Right away, I can see that customers who purchase spa visits are the most likely to be repeat visitors, followed by those who rented sports equipment. I can easily explore Power BI's key influencer visual further to learn more. I can even automatically see the most significant segments in my data just by clicking. Now let's go back to the first page and finish up our new report. I'm going to ask Copilot to make it look like our existing sales dashboard. Copilot automatically finds and references the dashboard to adjust my report with formatting and layout to match. Best of all, I can still interact directly with the Power BI report Copilot has created. So, for example, if I wanted to manually change this line chart to add the reason customers were visiting, it's easy to do with just a few clicks. Let's also change the line chart to a ribbon chart to make the data really stand out. Finally, to make the report even easier for my team to understand, I'm going to ask Copilot to add a rich text description of my data right inside the report. This narrative summary is fully dynamic, and not only does Copilot highlight interesting insights from my data, but it provides citations from where in the report the data was taken. This summary will update every time the data is refreshed, or people filter the report with new insights based on the data. And just like that, in seconds, I've created a report that would have taken hours or days to do manually. Copilot, built on top of Azure OpenAI, is truly revolutionary for how we empower everyone to find and share insights.
okay. Yeah, so that was a presentation just going through the overview of Copilot in Power BI. And so I'll just come back to the presentation. So as we talk about our Copilot in Power BI, of course, for people familiar with Power BI, we have the Power BI desktop. So we have the Copilot interface. So over here, we have Copilot. And of course, for those, we also have the Power BI service. So Power BI service is the cloud component of Power BI. And that's what allows you, of course, you can build some reports there. You can also share reports with management and with business users. So in Power BI service, you also have the Copilot interface, and we'll be touching on that as we go on. So what are some capability of Copilot in Power BI?
AI is incredible. It knows the life cycle of a frog.
Oh,
And it can even
I think that was playing at the background. Let me go on.
write a poem, pirate style. Yarr! But it knows.
Okay, yep. So let's come back. So what are the capability of Copilot in Power BI? These are just some of the summary. You can ask questions about your data, in reports, in apps. You can summarize a report, or topic. You can create and edit a report. You can summarize semantic models, add measures description, write dark queries, write measure descriptions, okay, search for artifacts, and also interact with our Fabric data agent. So we'll just be going through this one after the other, but first thing first, right? And that's about permission and setup. Now, is there everybody that have access to use Copilot in Power BI? Unfortunately, no, right? Because it's a paid service. So we need to first, get the permission set up. Now, what do you need to use Copilot in Power BI? There are kind of four things, to note. The first is that Copilot is only enabled when you have a paid organization capacity. So if you are using a trial version, a Fabric trial version, it's not enabled, it's disabled. So to use Copilot in Power BI, you need a Fabric capacity, so from F2 or higher. And I think when this first came out, actually it was even from F64 or higher, but it's been reduced to F2 or higher. And F2 just means that's one of Microsoft Fabric capacity units. So, or you could have a Power BI premium capacity, of course, at the organization level. So if you don't have this, as a company in your organization, then you are not able to use Copilot in Power BI. So licenses like Pro, of course, Pro, premium per user, it's not enough to use Copilot in Power BI. Now, the second thing is the setting has to be enabled. Now, it's actually enabled by default in the US and in the EU, but it's disabled by default outside this region. So if you are in UK or so other countries outside this region, is disabled by default. And the reason is because if for you to use Copilot in Power BI, outside these two regions, you actually need to enable geographical data sharing. So for those outside the US and the EU region, so it's disabled by default unless you enable the configuration. And then lastly, Copilot is currently not supported for sovereign cloud. So for people working, of course, in gov.cloud, I know Microsoft, they have, the government sovereign cloud. It's not, currently enabled due to GPU availability. So I'll just quickly, and I'll be moving, back and forth from the presentation to the hands-on. So I'll just show how do you enable Copilot in Power BI, right? By default, is enabled for if when you have a Fabric capacity and when you are in the US or the EU. So how do you check the setting? So this is a workspace already configured. It's configured with a paid Fabric capacity. So all you just need to do is, at this setting, so when you go to the admin portal, you can just search for Copilot just to see. Okay. So if you scroll down, so this is the setting that's enabled by default. So user can use Copilot and other feature powered by Azure OpenAI. So you need an admin access to access this, and it's enabled. Of course, it can be disabled. So sometimes organization can disable it. So if you don't see it, it's probably disabled. Then this will be talking about this setting also. Now, this is the third setting I mentioned. If you're outside the US, EU, so you need to enable, processing outside the geographical region. So, but yes, we are good. It's currently enabled. So we'll just come back to the presentation. Now, once you've and this the the platform I just showed. So once it's enabled, there's another thing that is recommended to use to prepare your data for AI. So there's a preparing your data for AI that allows Copilot to better respond to your questions. So I will just be going straight to that. So as a data analyst, of course, well, you use Power BI desktop. So I have my Power BI desktop open here, and I'll navigate to that. So you have a report, let's take you have a report you built for the company, and now you want to see, how do I use Copilot to accelerate data insight? All you need to do is to open the reports and on your Power BI desktop, of course, focusing first on report builders, and I'll be there's a minute. It's quite slow today. Okay, so this is my Power BI desktop. By now, I believe we are familiar with this. So I have this report. It's actually a report on manufacturer analysis. So we have a couple of manufacturers. These are the different filters, and you can look at the table view. So the table view, of course, these are the different tables I have in my data model. So date, products. So kind of just looking at the different manufacturers and the product they make and the revenue from that. So I'll just go, this is the data model, of course, the semantic data model, that powers the report. Now I want to use Copilot in this. So the first thing, like we mentioned, you have a workspace enabled that is attached to an F2, of a fabric capacity. So right to the top, so you see this is the Copilot, icon that you can use. So once I click on this, so it opens, the Copilot. Now this, my work, I've been configured to use my workspace, that has the capacity. Now, if you go to the just beside the Copilot, we have the prep data for AI. So this is one of the second thing you need to do to prepare your data for AI. So how do you do that? There are a couple of things Microsoft recommend. You need to simplify the data model. So this basically means deselecting feeds, right, that you don't use, right, that Copilot doesn't need to analyze. Now, a typical example of this are the primary keys and the foreign keys, right, the relationship feeds. So if I go, so if you see manufacturer, this is deselected, so it's also hidden. This is a manufacturer ID that connects my manufacturer table to my product table. So when I open this also, I have the manufacturer ID. So I deselect this because these are just for relation purpose. So simplifying the data model is the first step. The second thing, you're encouraged to set what is called a verified answer. And we'll touch on how you can do that. And the third step you're encouraged to do is to add AI instructions. So there are some instructions you can add that will further guide the Copilot when answering your question. Now, of course, these are some examples. So if you have some business terms, right, that is unique to your business, so you want to define it here so that when users ask questions, Copilot, of course, the AI model is able to better understand the question. So I'll just close this. And this is a setting that you need to do, is encourage you do that so as to prepare Copilot to answer questions. Now we'll go quickly also, how do you set up a verified answer? Now a verified answer, I'll just go to one of the visuals, and these visuals, so you can click on any of the visuals and you see set up a verified answer. So this allows you to specify questions, right, that business user, usually asks, and we then
Taiwo, I'm going to ask you to turn off your camera. We're not able to hear you, so we must be having a bandwidth problem.
let me do that just a minute. Okay. Yeah, it's really, really slow today. Okay, just a minute.
Okay, we can hear you at this moment.
Okay. Yeah, I'm having a bandwidth problem, really. It's okay. La, la, la. Just a minute. Let me turn up the camera. Hopefully that should reduce the stress.
Okay.
Okay.
We can hear you now.
Oh yeah, I think that should work then. Okay. So yeah, this is how you set up you prep data for AI, and the next thing to do, and I'll be going back to the presentation. I hope you can hear me, right?
We can hear you, yes.
Okay, nice. So once of course, you have access to a Copilot, you have access to a capacity that can use Copilot. You prep your data for AI. So we'll be looking at uh, two categories of users, right, that can use Copilot in Power BI. The first category is report authors, right? So those that build reports. Now, those that build report using Power BI desktop, Power BI service, the functionality of Copilot, it can help suggest content for a report, it can create a report page, create a summary visual, allows you to ask questions about data in model, summarize, your semantic model. It can allow you to add, it can suggest, measured descriptions. Of course, you can edit, if needed, and also help you. It can write DAX query. Of course, I teach some students, and sometimes they're like, oh, how do I know this query? Now you don't have to like be super vast in DAX, So DAX is data analysis expression, is a language you use in Power BI to configure measures. So to write measures. So I'll just go to the first functionality, so suggest content for a report. Now, just, so I'll be navigating between the presentation and, hands-on. This is my report. I have this report is on manufacturer analysis, and I'm thinking, oh, what else can what other page can I add to this report? Copilot is there to help me. As you see, he's already giving me some suggestion, create a new report page, suggest content for a new report. So I'll just click on suggest content for a new report. And at the back end, Copilot is working and trying to suggest, of course, is reading through my data model and suggesting content for the report. And that's why it's very important to prep your data for AI, because that's what Copilot will use. So just a minute. Let me try again. Boom. So now we have some content that was suggested: sales performance overview, product segment analysis. Of course, you can edit, this suggestion, or I'll just go ahead and click create. And once I click create, Copilot will generate a new report page, which is doing, just by default, and answering this question, sales performance overview. So just give it a few minutes. is suggesting a new report, is using to create a new report. And yep, here we are. Now I have a new report page without having to drag and drop or create dark code through Copilot. Now this helps you in, it suggests report page, but not just that, I can actually describe the report I want. So I don't have to take the suggestion, I can describe the report I want. The next thing Copilot can help you to do as a report builder is to summarize the visual. So you can summarize the page. I'll go back to this page, the manufacturer analysis, and I'm like, okay, summarize the report page. And once I do, okay, boom, it understands. Once I do that, it summarizes this page. Of course, how does it summarize the page? It scans through my data model, right? The model I've prepared for the the model that is powering this report, and then it's using that to generate a summary. I will give you some few minutes. Now I have a summary of what is on that report. As we read through the report, it's talking of, oh, we have total sales. There are two KPIs that are being tracked, the total sales unit and the total revenue. And of course, it looks through this report in terms of the category, urban and rural. And now we have a summary of the data. And the next thing I can do, and I've done it, but I will show this again. I can create a summary, a narrative, a summary narrative. So I'll remove this. If you go under your visualization, so this, for those that use Power BI, this is a narrative visual. And then I can, before now, there are a couple of ways you can do a custom one, but with Copilot, all I need to do is to click on the narrative and summarize the data. And once I click update, it generates an inline narrative for me from the data. So I can close this. And now I have, of course, I have a narrative summary of the data. So just a minute. Of course, you can always edit the visual to so I can move this around in the so I can what you need to do, you can increase this. So you can increase, you can change the fonts and drop it down. I won't take more time on that. So that's something Copilot. Now, this summary, it's interactive. So if I click, if I change, if I filter for another manufacturer, it automatically updates the summary. So it's not static, right? Of course, I can refresh. So the summary is not static. As you filter your report, it's automatically generating a new summary. So this is an example of what Copilot can do in Power BI Desktop. So we'll move on to the measure. Copilot can also help you to write measure description. And when you are building your data model, there are times you need some measures, right? Using DAX code. This particular model, it has some measures already that I created. So if I go down to my data under sales, there are two measures, the percent growth, so, and then the previous year sales. Now, if those familiar with DAX, this previous year sales, it looks at the sales over the same period last year and compares that to the current period. And then with that, I'm able to calculate the percent growth over years, year over year. And this is doing that percent growth year over year. Now this was, let me close this. Now this appear in one of my visuals. I'll close this to make it bigger. This previous year sale, it's in this column, and then the percent growth for revenues in this column. But when I created this measure, I didn't add the description. Now I can use Copilot to add the description. All I need to do is to navigate to the measure, So previous year sales, and right here there's a description. And then I click create with Copilot, and Copilot read through my data model and generate a description. From what we see here, he said, oh, based on the previous year sales, he calculate total revenue for the same period in the prior year based on the date column. Now I can keep this, and of course it appears in my description column. With this description, Copilot is better able to generate answer using this particular measure. Of course, same thing with the percent growth. You can use Copilot to generate measure description. Now, another thing you can do, of course, as a report builder, you want to generate new measures, right? So you can navigate to the DAX view, query view, and Copilot can help you to generate DAX queries and more measures. How do you do that? So I navigate to the DAX query view, and right here you see there's a Copilot icon. And once I click on it, it's asking me, it brings out the Copilot chatbot, and then I can, suggest measures for my data. Now I gave it a prompt, and this is a prompt. There are best practice to prompt, your data, your Copilot in your data, and I will come into that. There are links on that. Now Copilot is reading through my data model to suggest measures that I don't even have yet in my data. So I can navigate up. It's done. I can navigate up, and now I see the different measures that Copilot is suggesting. And the first one is my sales total revenue, which is, now this is an explicit measure. For those who know Power BI, this is an explicit measure. Instead of using an implicit measure, Copilot is suggesting I create a total revenue explicit measure. And of course, from what we see here, now I have all these different measures. I'm going to delete this. So, okay, before I do that, I can keep query. Now, I feel, oh, I want to keep it. And of course, now I can edit it before I run it. And I also want to show now, once I over one of the measures, can we see it's saying add new measures? Once I click this, Copilot updates my data model with that measure. So now I can go to my sales. Now this will go under sales, total revenue. Now I have a new measure, total revenue under sales. So these are, of course, you can keep, navigating any of the measures that sound, great. You need to use it. Of course, revenue year over year, year over year, then this, summarize columns. These are all the different options. Now I can generate more measures into my data model. Oh, I see a question. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I raised my hand, but it wasn't my hand. It did it by itself. AI was helping me.
Oh, that's nice. So, okay, yeah. So these are some of the examples of what you can use, how Copilot can help you as a report builder. So I'll navigate back to the presentation. And now, so far we have seen how Copilot can help you suggest content for a report, create a new report page, create a summary visual. Of course, you can also ask questions about data in your model. It can help you summarize semantic model, add measure description. We've seen that, as well as write DAX query. Now we navigate to the second part. What about business users? Those who don't use Power BI desktop, those who are really focused only on Power BI service. Copilot also help them. So Copilot for business users. So they are not writing the report. Of course, a typical workflow is that a data analyst, a Power BI analyst build a report with Power BI desktop. Then he publish that to Power BI service and distribute, right, using app or sharing the report directly. Now, the business users can also use Copilot to enhance their workflow. Now, for business users, there are three types of experience. We have the standalone Copilot, we have the Copilot for report, as well as Copilot for apps. Now, the standalone Copilot, I'll just navigate straight to Power BI desktop, to Power BI service, and navigate to the left, right, we see a pane, a Copilot. So this will lead to the standalone Copilot page. And once I click on that, it will open the standalone Copilot. Now, this is the standalone Copilot. And before I forget, you can always clear chat. So let me go back to Power BI desktop. So you can always also clear chat if you are moving to a new business question, right? You can clear your chat. Just thought to highlight that. Now I have this Power BI standalone that I can ask questions and I can use to search for data and artifacts that I have access to. So I'll just which report um, is about manufacturer analysis. So I've had some reports on manufacturer analysis. Copilot can help me, can read through my workspace, and all the data assets I have access to is now searching through it to know which one is as manufacturer analysis as in the report. Now we see the result. Oh yes, you have one called manufacturer analysis app. You have one for analyze manufacturing. So which of them do you want to use? So now we see an example. Of course, right away here, I can ask you to summarize one of the reports, summarize the, so I just copy and so I can ask you to summarize my report. And then he reads through the app and summarize, all what was shared with me as a business user, and is working. So this is the standalone app, quite fast. It's scanning the report content, and in some few minutes, it will generate the summary of that report. So as a business user, a data analyst, the analyst department, they share a report with you, and you want to quickly have a quick summary of the report. Now you can use Copilot within the Power BI desktop service to do that. Okay, so now these are some of the things it is already getting, but there are even more. I can fine tune my question and I will have more report and I will have more results. So this is the standalone Power BI app. We'll go into the Copilot for reports. Another way you can use Copilot is to navigate to a specific report. The standalone app, it navigates across all the reports you have access to. But I can go to a specific report. I have a report, it's been shared with me. The same report I have on my Power BI desktop. This is the same report. Now I've shared, it's been shared with me. I want to have some quick summary on this data, on this report. Now to my right, I see the Copilot pane. This is for the Copilot in Power BI service. And as I click on that, now I can summarize this report. Of course, I can generate a new report page if I want. And so I'll just, understand. I can ask questions about this data, without, clicking on the data or thinking too much, and I'm able to get my result. I'll just pick this. What's this report page about? And Copilot will generate an answer based on the question. Now, this is for Copilot within a report. Now we see the summary, what is generated about the report. Of course, is about manufacturer analysis, focus on urban. Now, actually, I have a filter for urban, so it's focusing on urban for not publishers, right? Which is my I've filtered for the not publishers, and now I'm seeing some key highlights from using Copilot. So I'll navigate from this. Another way you can share reports is through app. Now, for Power BI developers, of course, one of the ways you can share reports is through an application. And Copilot allows you to, there's Copilot also for an app. So how do you build an app? Okay, I already have an app, so I'll just navigate to the app, which is this app, and update app. It's fine. So I can go to the application. Of course, an app, it's different from sharing a report individually. Just imagine you want to share a report with multiple people, multiple distribution. An app helps you to better organize the sharing of your report. Now, within an app, I also have access to Copilot. So I see Copilot pane here, and then I can ask the same question and generate insights about my report. So these are some of the things a business user, without knowing DAX, right? Without knowing, how to, build reports, is able to get insight from the data and make business decision. So now we get back to the presentation. And now we are able to see, the three type of, Copilot for business users. Of course, also a data analyst, a report builder can also use this on Power BI service. So we have the standalone Copilot, the report, and the app. This is the standalone Copilot. Just to mention the different capability, it can help you search for artifacts that you have access to, summarize a report, answer questions about your data, and also allow you to use your Fabric data agent. We won't talk much about this, but in Fabric, we have Fabric data agents that give you a lot of capability, AI, Gen AI capability. Now, to specifically use standalone Copilot experience, there are some permissions you need. You need this, default permission, and also you need this, users can access a standalone cross-item Power BI Copilot experience. So in the admin dashboard I showed, this need to be configured if it's not. And again, that's for admin. You need an admin access to be able to fix these permissions. But it's important to note. Now, this is I've already shown this. This was, I can ask you find the manufacturer analysis report, and now it's showing me all the different across my workspace, the different report I have that has manufacturer analysis, and then I can ask it to summarize one of the reports, and here we are seeing the results. Of course, ask some specific questions, and yes, and it's giving the results. For reports, so within a report, you can use Copilot. Again, the permissions need to be configured, and then so you can ask it to summarize the report, which we have done, and then within an app, which we have shown also, you can use Copilot. Now, as we round up the presentation, there are some consideration and limitation that we need to quickly highlight. The first is that Copilot is not meant to replace the ability of human users. No, it's meant to augment, right? And that's, I put that in bold because it's important to note, right? It doesn't mean now, okay, just be using Copilot. No, it's not meant to replace, it's to augment. And then there are some consideration. When Copilot generates a DAX measures, DAX query, as human needs to review for accuracy and completeness. And then if you buy a new Fabric capacity, it can take up to 24 hours for Copilot to recognize that and some regions do not currently support the standalone Copilot and the Copilot in app experience that I showed. And this a link to this there are some regions is not currently allowed. Now, multilingual use, right, is not officially supported. So don't ask questions in Japanese, currently or in any other language. English actually is the default language at this time. Of course, it was, according to Microsoft documentation, if you ask question in some foreign language, it might give you a response, but it's not officially supported at this time. And there are some limitations to the Copilot that is incorporated within an app. And lastly, one of the considerations is that each prompt, right? Each prompt you write, there's a maximum of 10,000 characters per prompt. Now, of course, I mean, it's not expected that you write up to 10,000. That would be really serious if you are writing up to this in just a prompt. But it's good to know this consideration and limitation. Now, as a round up, Copilot brings the power of Gen AI into business intelligence. In Power BI is good for enhanced productivity for business user, the report authors and data model owner. Is to augment the capability and of course help us to accelerate data insight. These are some of the references that of Microsoft documentation about Copilot. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Taiwo. You gave us a whole lot of information. I'm so glad this is recorded. I'll be sending this recording out with the PDU credit and the transcript. Taiwo, do you want to give us a copy of your deck to send that out to also?
Yeah, correct. I will send it out. Yeah, definitely.
Perfect. Perfect. That way we can review it and review over and over some of the areas because there's some things I need to follow along to get. Does anyone have any questions for Taiwo? Did you see something you've done before, or did you see something new in there?
I did have a quick question for him on the model.
Yeah.
Just curious, once the AI insights are derived and the dashboard is designed for updating in the future, especially for like view access for users, I'm just curious, does it eventually sort of migrate to be operating like a normal Power BI dashboard, or is it still is it still pulling the data through the AI model once in the future it refreshes the data?
Oh, yeah. So that's a very good question. Now, once like this page that was generated with AI is just like a regular dashboard, right? So in fact, you can configure it, right? So you can add more filter. What Copilot does at the end, at the background, is that it writes the code, right? The DAX code needed to generate the chart. So it's just a regular Power BI dashboard that refreshes just like any of the dashboard. Did I answer the question?
Yes, that did. And thank you. It was very cool.
Yeah, nice. Thank you so much.
One of the things I've thought most exciting about this is I've thought about using AI with this, but it never occurred to me to ask AI what I should be doing. Suggest a format or suggest a new report. Of course it knows, and it's going to make me look good and make me provide well for my project. So that's really excellent. Taiwo, how did you learn all this?
Okay, yes. So I mean, I work as a engineer and AI engineer, and I actually teach some students Power BI. So I have some students I teach Power BI as part of my work here at NVIT.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Well, you obviously use your skills well. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at the end of our meeting. I encourage you to reach out to Taiwo if you have any questions, maybe on LinkedIn. Would that be okay, Taiwo?
Sure. Yeah, my LinkedIn, yeah, sure. I'll be happy. Yeah, definitely.
And Taiwo said that he's in Frisco. That is just north of Dallas, Fort Worth in Texas. If you have any questions and you're in that area, I bet you there's something in that area too. Okay, Taiwo, thank you so much. Please just send the deck and I'll include it in the email this weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, we have another brilliant presentation for you next week. Renat's going to come and talk to us about more AI, so you can come and get more educated. If this is beneficial to you, please do tell other people. We are only able to help the people that come to us. And so only you guys are smart right now. Let's make other people smart. I'll talk to you next time. Thank you so much. See you later.
Yeah, thank you.